Hey guys, welcome back. This is Will from SRT Amplification, and I just wanted to plug that little intro music clip I have on this video and the last one I had. It was sent to me by a good friend of mine in Virginia. He's an amp tech there. He owns Amp Revamp. I'll put a link to his Facebook page in the comments below. And so if you live in the Northern Virginia area, you need a guitar amp serviced or any other audio amplifier, solid state or tube, anything repaired like that, just give him a holler and he'll be happy to take care of you. He does really good work. Today's going to be part 2 of this Nixie tube voltmeter. We're going to look at it, see how close it is to alignment. If you haven't seen the previous video that I did on this, I'll put a link to it down below. Also, while you're down there, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. That way you'll get and hit that little bell. You'll get notifications on my next video. I said in the prior video that this was a 3-digit meter, but in actuality, it's a 3.5-digit meter. And when we looked at it last time, we saw that there was. I'll go ahead and get you down here. We saw that there was behind this panel here, there's 3 neon bulbs, and those neon bulbs were correspond with a plus sign, a negative sign, and then there's a 1 right here that illuminates, and that gives it that half digit. It only goes up to 1, so it's really a 2,000 count meter. So that kind of explains some of the readings we were getting last time, why they were a little bit off, because I wasn't noticing that 1 over here. So this time when we hook this thing up and take measurements, we'll make sure that we get that all in there. And then I wanted to show you on the manual. I found the manual for this thing. Let me pull it up here on the computer real quick, and we'll look at it. Okay, the first thing I wanted to show you is that this thing would have normally came with a stand. They connected here to the little bezels on the side, and you can see the 3 Nixie tube digits, and then the 1 illuminated here, and then the positive sign indicate positive DC voltage. This thing only does DC voltage and resistance readings, and we'll see here in a little bit that it can also do current readings with some auxiliary pieces of equipment or auxiliary components. Another thing here, this gives you your range, all your different ranges, the accuracy of each range, the resolution. So like the resolution at the 1.5 volt range is 1 millivolt. This is as far down as you can go on this thing. So it gives you also your input impedances for each range. And then as an option, you can buy these shunt resistors, precision shunt resistors, and they allow you to take current readings. Basically, it's just reading the voltage across this resistor as current's passing through and giving you a reading based off that voltage that it's sensing there, and it converts directly to current, and you can go all the way down to 150 microamps with this. You can buy these, and it's just a block that you stick in there, a terminal block that you stick in there, and then you put your device under test on it, and it runs the current through that shunt resistor. Or you could actually rig up. You see, this is plus or minus 0.5%, so it's a very high precision resistor. So you'd have to get a resistor that actually gets really close to that 10K or 1K or 110 or 1 ohm value. But you could actually just rig it up yourself, but they actually make those blocks. The next thing I wanted to show you was the block diagram of how some of this circuitry works. And let's see here. Oh, here's a picture of one of those shunt resistors right here. Here we go. So it's just a block that goes in there, and then you plug your device under test into it. Pretty simple. Okay, so this diagram right here kind of shows you, let me make this a little bit bigger. Kind of shows you what's going on here. It's got some TTL logic ICs, as we saw in the first video. And basically what you have is an oscillator that's running a counter, and basically what's going on is you're feeding your DC in here, and that DC is going through a amplifier stage, and it's basically gonna, based off of this 24K hertz oscillator and the value that you have on your DC, you're going to get inputs out, and it's going to be stored in this RAM right here. Okay, and then you've got this BCD to decimal decoder right here that's going to give the digits in decimal form out here on these 3 Nixie tubes. And this is just a binary counter here. These are decade counters, obviously, because you're going to be, feeding decade decimal values here. And then you have a binary counter here because this can only be 0 or 1. And really there is no 0, it's just going to be nothing or 1. And so that's going to be that neon bulb that illuminates behind that right there. So, and then you've got your polarity signal here that's coming off this amplifier. The signal from this amplifier is going to tell you whether it's positive or negative. So that's basically how it works in a nutshell. There you go. There's your full readout right there. So let's get back over here and try this thing out again, or look at this thing. All right, so the way I've got this thing rigged up here, I'm going to be feeding a DC signal in here. Now, this power supply that I have right here only goes up to like 15 volts or so, I think. So we're only going to be looking at the lower ranges. Eventually, I'll rig up something that we can test the higher ranges as well. But back here, as we noted in the last section, back here we have all these trim pots right here that we're going to be adjusting for each, and there in the manual it tells which ones. Okay, so what we'll show you here, this is the adjustments. Okay, so this is in the second part of the manual, part 2, and you can see the 15 volt adjustments all the way over here, 150, 100, 1.5, and then these are your resistance adjustments. So the first one we're going to be doing is the 1.5, and then we'll probably do the 100 volt as well. We probably won't mess with, we'll probably do the 15 volt and the 100 volt. So this one right here. So let's look at this. Let's see what we got. So if you remember from our last video, here's those trim pots right here. So the one we're going to be adjusting right here for the 1.5 is sitting right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Yep, right there. And then the 15 volts all the way over here, we're going to be doing that one, and then the 100 volts right here. So let's look at that. And I've got my DMM right here on the Lazy Susan for comparison. Hopefully this comes, hopefully the Nixie tubes show up all right in the video. So, all right, so we're going to stick some DC on here. All right, so we have our unit on now, and what I'm going to do is the procedures tell you to short across these two leads, and it should be 0 volts. So we're going to do that right now. see, I think I can go across like this. Oh, I'll be able to reach it. All right, let's see here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect these, or I'm just going to plug this one into here. It should read 0 volts when they're shorted out. So I've got 0 volts here, as you guys can see. I got 0 all the way across my Nixie tubes. I know it's not showing up really well on the screen. Maybe if I turn out some of these lights, maybe you can see a little bit better. I don't know. Okay, showing up really good here on my workbench, but yeah, it's kind of washing out. What if I turn this light off? Oh, it's a little bit better. Okay. All right. It shows up really orange on the video for some reason, but here in the workbench it's red. Okay. So I have it zeroed out. I've got the neon bulb behind the positive sign illuminated. So now I'm going to unshort this. Of course, it's going to drift a little bit because it's picking up residual voltage. And I'm going to plug this back in. And we are going to put some voltage on this thing and see what we got. I'll raise it up. I'm on the 1.5 volt scale. And let's see what our DMM is showing. Our DMM showing, I don't know if you guys can see that, 0.92. Raise it up a little bit. I'm going to get right at 1 volt if I can. This DC power supply I'm using is very sensitive. Okay, so you can see here on the Nixie tube, or on the display right here, the 1 is illuminated. It's showing 1.032. It's going between 2 and 3, right? My DMM showing 1.031. And it says in the manual that this should be plus or minus 5 millivolts. So this right here could be, this figure right here could be, or excuse me, plus or minus 1 millivolt on this range, plus or minus 1 millivolt. So this one's going between 2 and 3, and this one's going between 2 and 1. So yeah, they're really close on that. Now let's adjust this just for giggles and see what it does. See if it changes anything. Adjust this pot here. You can see, oh yeah, it's going down. So let's see if I can get it. Let's see if I can get it going between 1 and 2, because that's what my DMM's doing. There we go. 1 and 2. Yeah. So I feel good about that. All right, so let's go over to the 5 volt range. There we go. Now I'm showing something funky. So that's way off. Our 5 volt adjustments over here. I don't know if I can get it to go down enough, but we're gonna see. This is like a 10 turn pot, so I'm looking for 1.03 volts. Let's see if we can get it down that far. And it's just not going to do it. Not going to go down that far. So let me raise up the voltage here to, so see, for some odd reason, it looks like it's got to be past the 1.5 volt range, because what that's doing is the resolution's not that good at that point. So right now my DMM's showing 1.9. Let's see if we can get it down to 1.9. It's bottomed out. Interesting. 2.5. I think we have a bad pot here. It is allowing me to go up, but it's not allowing me to go down. All right, so that one's not adjusting. Wait, shit, let's go to the 100 volt range. And the 100 volt range is showing perfect. 2.5, 2.5. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go up to double digits here. Raise this. Go up to double digits. This is tracking right along with it. Okay, so I've got 10.4 on my DMM. I got 10.4 here. So that one's perfect. I don't know if the next range is going to show me anything really. 10, yep. So that's that's as far as I can see. This is 10.3, but because I'm in the, what is that, the 1,000 volt range, or the 1,000 volt range. So that's pretty close. In the 100 volt range, it's tracking pretty good. This says 10.39. I've got 10.4. Good to go. This is the one that's off. I don't. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, this is working now. The 15 volts is working. So I got 1. You can see the 1 illuminated. 0, 3, 4. Let's see if I can adjust that a little bit. Is this the 5 volt range? Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can bring that up to 3.8. I think this switch may be a little bit dirty. It's kind of intermittent. If I bring this up to 0.38, we will be in like Flynn. There we go. Okay. And then, yeah, I can't go down any further with this voltage anyway. So that's tracking right along. Okay, so we got 10.38, 10.38, 10.4, 10.38. That's a little bit off. Let me adjust that a little bit. See if I can get that down a little bit. If I can get that down to, the problem is you get it down to 0.3 and you really don't know how far you've gone past that. So let's leave it right there. And then that one just shows 10. Yeah. 10.4, 10.38. And then if I go down below 1.5 volts, let's get this down to, I think this will actually show, I think we'll actually show 1 point, I think it'll show above 1.5. Let's see what that does at 1.5. Yeah, see it's showing 1.58. So it does go above the range. So it's tracking right along with my DMM here. I don't know how far above the range it'll go. Looks like it goes quite a bit. And then it stops. So yeah, about 1.78 is as far as it goes. Okay, got 0.98, 0.98. If I go back down to my 6 volt range, I can see another digit. There's 0.981, 0.982. So there's that. Let's look at the resistance readings and see what they're showing. Let's take this off, and we'll put a resistor across here. Okay, so I got this thing set up for resistance. And when I put this in the circuit, it's changing it. So I'm going to take this off. I measured this resistor at 81K. Okay, 81K is what I measured it at. And it's telling me that it's about 134K. Because I have it on the 1.5K scale, which is the lowest resistance scale. This is really 3 decimal points over. So this is 100. So I need to see if I can get this down to 81 ohms. So I need to adjust this one. Okay, so there we go. It's 82 ohms. Down. Okay. It's bouncing between 81 and 82 ohms there, as you can see. So 82 ohms. You can see when I introduce the meter into it, the resistance value changes, obviously, because I'm looking at the parallel resistances here. So anyway, that's 82. That's what I measured it at. When I take this off of here, that'll take that out, and you can see that this resistor is actually 81 on the DMM. You can see that, 81. So this thing's reading right on that scale. So I think that's fine. I do probably need to go in here and clean up these switch contacts. I think as I'm switching this, I can see that there's a little bit of intermittency in the switches, but everything seems to be working fine. Everything is, and it's obviously not calibrated. I don't have any standard or anything like that that's going to say, hey, this is within tolerance or whatever. I basically just, it's really close to what my DMM's reading. So there you go. This all hinges on the fact that when you short these leads out, this should be 0. So if this doesn't come out to 0, see, like right now, for some odd reason, it's bouncing. There's a little adjustment back here that you can make to 0 that out. So there you go. And that bouncing around there on that 0 was probably what was making the measurements bounce around a little bit. But that's it. That's the Systron Donner model 70, what is it, 7050 Nixie tube voltmeter, multimeter. Again, it is a 3.5 digit meter, 2000 counts. It's a resolution of down to 1 millivolt in the 1.5 volt scale. And it can also do DC current as well with a shunt resistor. And then it can also do resistance measurements as well. So this is something I'm going to stick up here on my bench, and I'll probably use every now and then, just for the novelty of it, you know. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you like and subscribe, and I should have some more videos coming out soon. And also probably my next video will be in my new workbench area, my new workshop. My wife and I are kind of combining our efforts in our workshop spaces, and I'm going to have one half and she's going to have one half. And so we will have a new workspace, a new workbench, and I'll update you when that comes. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.